Welcome to Sportpen. Okay, so the 1988 Seoul Olympics. Just saying it brings back some powerful images, doesn't it?
It really does. A very specific energy.
Yeah, it wasn't just, your average Olympics. It felt like this collision of incredible moments, things that made you hold your breath, pure determination, performances that just changed the game.
Absolutely. And that's what we're diving into today, right?
Yeah.
What made those games so legendary? What does that raw willpower look like? And how do these moments rewrite sports history?
Exactly. And you really have to set the scene. We're talking the late 80s. The Cold War is still casting a long shadow, maybe nowhere more than the Korean Peninsula itself, which was, of course, divided.
Right. A very tense backdrop for this huge international gathering. It's kind of amazing it came together the way it did.
It is. And it's easy to forget now, but the Olympics back then, well, they hadn't quite hit the global scale we see today. There were boycotts, issues. So for Seoul to step up, especially given their initial, maybe, underdog status in the bidding.
That's a key point. Seoul winning the bid over Nagoya in '81. That was a surprise to many.
They make one, yeah.
But it wasn't just chance. It really signaled South Korea's ambition. They saw this as a chance, a huge opportunity, to boost their international image, make a statement on the world stage.
A massive gamble, though, considering the internal political climate and the division. So how did they start making this ambition a reality? What were the first steps?
Well, first things first, they set up the Seoul Olympic Organizing Committee, SLOOC. Think of it as the master planning body, a special legal foundation just dedicated to making these games happen.
And making them happen meant more than just building venues, I imagine.
Oh, much more. Seoul basically got a massive makeover. It's like hitting fast forward on urban development.
Right.
The Jamsil area, the Olympic town, was the big showpiece, obviously. But that spurred on huge infrastructure projects everywhere. New roads, cleaning up and developing the Han River area. It was all about presenting this modern, capable face to the world.
Okay, but the scale of that, the cost must have been astronomical. Where did the money, the resources actually come from?
That's where things get really interesting. It was this pretty unique blend of public and private effort. The city government in Seoul was all in, of course.
Sure.
But you also had the National Treasury chipping in, local loans, and crucially, massive support from the private sector. We're talking the chaebol, the big South Korean conglomerates. Hyundai, for example, played a huge role financially.
So the big corporations saw the opportunity, too. It wasn't just a government project.
Not at all. And the government actively encouraged this, boosting key industries like construction, tourism, sports marketing, all expecting this Olympic boom.
Makes sense.
And it went beyond just money. Citizen involvement was huge.
Really? Like how?
Well, thousands of volunteers, for
Yeah.
one. Absolutely essential. And then there was the homestay program. To help house all the visitors, ordinary Korean families opened their homes. It fostered this incredible sense of national unity and participation.
That's quite a picture. A whole nation pulling together. But we can't really talk about Seoul 88 without facing the elephant in the room. North Korea and the whole geopolitical situation.
No, you absolutely can't. That was a constant undercurrent. Initially, quite a few socialist nations weren't happy about Seoul hosting. And North Korea, well, they were strongly opposed.
Strongly opposed is putting it mildly, wasn't it? There were concrete demands.
Oh, yes. First, they suggested co-hosting, splitting events with Pyongyang. When that didn't fly, they demanded the whole thing be canceled. They cited the, quote, combat situation along the DMZ.
Yeah.
Very tense language.
Wow. So did it feel like a major boycott was genuinely on the cards? Like the whole thing might unravel?
There was definitely uncertainty, a lot of diplomatic maneuvering behind the scenes, but the real turning point was the Soviet Union deciding to participate. They basically concluded that another boycott after LA 84 would just harm the Olympic movement itself. And interestingly, even a few years earlier, in '85, I think, small groups of Soviet athletes had actually come to Seoul for some minor events. Little signals, maybe.
Small signals, but significant in hindsight. Still, that underlying tension, it was real. And then, just the year before the Games, that awful tragedy with Korean Air Flight 858.
Yes, the bombing in late 1987, horrific event linked to North Korean agents. It just ramped up international anxieties about security and stability right before the world was due to arrive. The focus on Kim Yon-hui, the agent involved, became this whole other global story.
It's incredible to think about that pressure cooker environment existing alongside the preparations for this celebration of sport, which brings us to the sport itself.
Yeah.
You almost have to start with the men's 100 meters.
You really do. That race became, well, legendary, but for complex reasons. Ben Johnson's win, that explosive power, setting a new world record against Carl Lewis, it was electrifying.
The ultimate showdown. And the field itself was huge, right? More runners than ever.
Yeah, over 100 athletes in the 100 meters for the first time. More nations participating. It felt like the peak of global sprinting. The buzz was immense.
A new world record in the biggest race. You couldn't write it better. Until
the drug test.
Yeah.
Stanozolo. Johnson testing positive, getting disqualified. It sent absolute shockwaves. Not just track and field, the whole world of sport was reeling.
And suddenly Carl Lewis is the champion again. Gold medal awarded after the fact. Makes him the first to repeat in the 100 meters, technically, if you count those 1906 games. But what a way for it to happen.
Exactly. It just highlighted that constant tension, doesn't it? Between the quest for athletic perfection and the need to uphold, the integrity of the competition. A really stark moment.
It really was. But Seoul wasn't just about that one race, obviously. There were other standout performances. You mentioned Soviet athletes competing even before the games officially started.
That's right. In the lead-up, in things like figure skating, judo, archery, boxing, Soviet athletes were already there competing, winning medals. It was a clear signal they were fully participating, and it hinted at the strong showing they'd have overall.
So a games packed with drama, athletic brilliance, controversy, but let's shift focus slightly. What about the impact beyond the stadiums? For South Korea itself, what was the lasting legacy?
Well, thinking bigger picture, the Olympics were arguably a catalyst for political change. The fact that the world was about to arrive, that global spotlight, it likely influenced how the government handled the major pro-democracy protests in 1987.
Ah, interesting. So the games themselves created pressure for domestic reform.
It seems that way. The timing was significant. And then there's the physical transformation we talked about. Those massive infrastructure projects weren't just for show. They laid the groundwork for future economic growth. That modernization along the Han River, new roads, that had a lasting impact.
And the economy itself must have gotten a boost.
Oh, definitely. Tourism boomed, obviously. But the Games also attracted a lot more foreign investment. South Korea really put itself on the map for international business.
And for the people, did it change how they saw themselves or their country?
I think so, yes. There was this huge surge in national pride and unity. And doing so well in the medal count, finishing fourth overall, that was a massive symbol of success. It felt like validation.
So it really was South Korea's sort of coming out party on the global stage.
You could definitely say that. It was this huge opportunity to open up to the world, build diplomatic bridges, use sports diplomacy effectively. And on the commercial side, this was when the T-TLP sponsorship program, the Olympic program, really solidified with big names like Coca-Cola, Visa getting heavily involved. That shaped the financial model for future games, too.
So when you look back, the Seoul Olympics were much more than just 2 weeks of sport. They were genuinely transformative for South Korea, its image, economy, society, even its psyche, perhaps.
I think that's fair. It shifted perceptions, both internationally and domestically, moving from feeling maybe somewhat isolated to feeling connected, capable, confident on the world stage. It showed what a nation could achieve with focus and immense effort, even with all those background complexities.
A really potent mix of human achievement, tough political realities, and the undeniable drama of sport. The 1988 Seoul Olympics definitely carved out its place in history.
It absolutely did. A showcase of incredible highs and, well, some significant lows, too. It perfectly illustrates that complex interplay between sport and the wider world.
And it really leaves you thinking, doesn't it, about how these huge mega events like the Olympics continue to shape how nations see themselves and how the world sees them, even today.
That's a crucial takeaway. Their impact stretches far beyond the closing ceremony.
Thanks for listening to Sportpen.